Well, good morning and welcome back to CityLine. If you saw me on the wide shot, you just realized that I saw socks on these gentlemen that need to go in the sock cam. So let's get to it before we get to the wonderment of why they are here. This is LaMarco Mitchell, and you are the Senior Community Development Manager for the American Cancer Society. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I love spending time with you. I love walking the track with you at Relay. I love hugging you. I love what you stand for. I love seeing you on Facebook. I think that's enough.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You're so
You.
sweet.
Okay, hold still. All right, Cheryl, get the sock cam out. Look at these. These things rock. Way to go, man. Snazzy, that's all I got to say. This beautiful woman here, Miss Corinn Wohl, you are with the Southwest Board of Directors with the American Cancer Society, but you are also, most importantly, a breast cancer survivor. Welcome, my dear. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Look at the look in your eye. That look says survivor right then and there. And you also have great pumps on, but look at you. We expect nothing less from you. Dapper David Beaumont. You are also with the Board of Directors for the American Cancer Society, and he already has his socks ready to go. Look at those socks. We went from geometrics to dots in a matter of a New York minute. Outstanding. Welcome, David, to CityLine. It's good to have you here. All right, so Corinn, I want to talk with you. You are the director for Twin Star Credit Union, and you, as we mentioned, you are also a member of the Southwest Council for the American Cancer Society, and a breast cancer survivor. I want you to talk with us about your journey with breast cancer. And I think that in these moments, when people are as open as you are and as clear about their journey, these are those pearls of wisdom where we get to learn so much. Tell our viewers about how you discovered you had cancer.
Thank you. So I discovered it through a self-breast exam. Through that process, I learned that, of course, I had cancer. Immediately after identifying I had a cancer tumor, they sent me in for a mammogram. And the really interesting thing to me was that it didn't show on the mammogram. So my message that I always try and bring forward is to make sure that when you're doing proper screening, it includes a physician's exam, a scan, and breast self-exam on a monthly basis. And so that's a message that I like to share everywhere I go as often as possible. And as you can imagine, of course, you go through a whirlwind of emotions when you hear the words, you have cancer. And I was fortunate in that I had a ton of support. I had great resources like the American Cancer Society website to look for and read and study and learn, and started a crazy journey that put me here on this couch.
How many years ago was that?
July 15th, 2016. I finished my treatment in December of 2016. Wow. Just had an anniversary.
I am in awe. I am in awe of you and your strength. And then what else did you find out?
So we discovered, because I was under 50, that they asked me to undergo some genetic testing. And through that, we discovered that I was positive for a gene mutation called the BRCA gene. It stands for breast cancer. There's BRCA1 and BRCA2. And the gene mutation gives you a significant increased risk of breast, ovarian, melanoma, pancreatic, and for men, prostate cancer. And that was kind of a kick to the gut. I was doing okay with my diagnosis. We'd found it early. I was feeling pretty good about it. But when I discovered that, it meant a whole new treatment plan. It meant some preventative ovarian hysterectomy. And then it also meant testing for the rest of my family. Yes. And that's where it got real for me, because we discovered both my sister and my 22-year-old daughter were both also positive. Part of that is what led me to the American Cancer Society, though, because the link, the understanding that genetic mutation and the increased risk of cancer came from research that was done by a woman here in Seattle, Mary Claire King, using American Cancer Society dollars. So that was, to me, a real eye-opener to what those research dollars can do. And
isn't that amazing, how that came back around? Yeah. So I want to ask the question, what did your sister and then what did your daughter do with this information?
It's a great question, because at first you're thinking, oh, I wish I didn't know I had this. I wish I didn't know I had this. But then you realize that knowledge is power.
A gift.
Absolute gift. While we would
Yes.
rather not have the gene mutation, the knowledge that what it can cause, and the advocacy work that has done by the American Cancer Society and others, offered them both the opportunity, and me as well, to choose insurance-paid preventative surgeries. So in 2017, both my sister and my 23-year-old daughter both had preventative double mastectomies.
Oh,
Annie came to me and she said, "I'm taking charge of my health.
That's
I'm not
right.
going to live in fear."
oh my gosh.
Special moment.
I was like, oh, how proud you must be of that beautiful woman that you have raised to
Yeah.
make
Bravery
that
beyond.
scary but brave decision.
And smart. Her doctor said that she reduced her risk of breast cancer by 99%.
Incredible. And we hear of others nationally doing this, but we only hear after the fact that they had a double mastectomy, but we don't ever get to hear the intimate details that you have just gifted us with. Oh my gosh, you are incredible. So you have this very full life. How do you find time to volunteer?
In a lot of ways, I feel it's a responsibility. I feel like I have been given so many great blessings. I came out of my cancer diagnosis so much better than so many other people that I feel like it's kind of my job to give back. So I look for opportunities, and I'm very fortunate that my work as well provides me the opportunity to, we have a strong belief in social responsibility. So between having a work that's supportive and a family that supports me, being gone sometimes in the evenings, and actually they're my best cheerleaders. My family comes to everything with me, and it's just something I think must be set as a priority.
I love that. Well said, my dear. You wear that survivor badge so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Lamarco, before I get to Dapper David and hear about his story of how cancer has touched you and why you do what you do in your life, I want you to explain to our viewers the number of programs that the American Cancer Society offers patients.
Sure. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, the American Cancer Society is really focusing in on the access to care.
Yes.
We're finding that so many cancer patients, once they're diagnosed, are not able to receive the care that they need. And so for us, to get cancer patients to that treatment is a huge undertaking for us. And so we have a program called Road to Recovery. And Road to Recovery is the American Cancer Society recruiting volunteers and volunteers taking cancer patients to their treatments and back. It could be one day a month, it could be one day a week, whatever the availability is for that volunteer. And we're finding that's one of the biggest needs here in this area in our region. So many people are not able to make it to other treatments. Another one is our lodging program. And so we partner with hotels and the hospitality industry. And if a cancer patient needs to travel more than 3.5 hours for their treatment, the American Cancer Society work with those companies and try to find ideally free or reduced rates for them, so that they, one less burden that they have to take on, one less financial responsibility. And Corinn mentioned our website. Our website is amazing. I've been with the American Cancer Society 20 years, and the evolution of that site. And now it's so easy to get the information that you need, whether, it's a diagnosis on a particular cancer, whether it's staging. Even, how does the cancer affect my family? Or how do I tell my family member? How do I tell my child I have cancer? Our website does that, and that's cancer.org. And we also have an 800 number, 1-800-227-2345. I have to make sure I get that out there. And that's staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And anyone can call from anywhere in the country and get the same questions, same information answered. And also, one thing that's important about that is that it's also available in different languages.
Perfect.
So we're able to provide that information to anyone.
All right, so we have that beautiful vessel of solutions and safety and embrace of once the diagnosis happens.
Yes.
And we know where to go to get the help and to work smart, not hard.
Yes.
And now, Mr. David, you are relatively new to our region from Detroit, Michigan. I was just in Detroit last spring and I fell in love with it. And you are a very busy person. You are an administrator in education unions, and right now you're currently an educational consultant in Tacoma. What is your journey with cancer? Because you do a lot of time volunteering. So what is the motivation? What's the fuel in the engine?
It's in my genes. I'm my mother's son, and my dad died when I was in second grade. And so I was raised by my mom, and she always worked and she always volunteered. And she would do it with the single parents, with the seniors. And it was funny because as she got older and she was retiring, she says, I'm going to work with the seniors. And I said, Mom, you are a senior. And she would laugh and keep moving. One day I was at her house helping her with something, and I started stumbling into information. There was information on the relay, information on the American Cancer Society, and she started explaining programming to me. And I finally looked at it, and she says, I have cancer. And she kept going. That's just how private and how my mom operated. It wasn't about anything other than, I just need you to know I got cancer, and I know what I'm talking about. Since that time, I have a sister-in-law that's battling breast cancer. I have a brother-in-law that was surprised to find he had cancer, a little older than I am. And I remember my message to my mom when I was going away to college. She says, you're not just anybody's kids, you're Beaumont, and we expect you to do certain things. And I watched her up to 6 months before she passed, still volunteering and still working a full-time job, and just, I have no other option than I am my mother's son, basically. I have to give back.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, my goodness, so volunteering for you really is in your genes.
Yes.
And so if our viewers are thinking, I just don't have the time to volunteer, David and Corinn, what would you say to them? And David, go ahead and answer that first.
You know, people find time for what's important.
There
in
we
their
go.
Life. And even if I didn't hear my mother's voice, and I always do, I figure out what's important for me. This is incredibly important for me. So when LaMarco called and asked me, was I interested in doing it, and I said, okay, where do I need to be at? Because this is really important. It's all around us.
That's
cancer.
right.
It's all around it. If it hasn't touched you yet, I bet
It
you
will.
it actually has, and you just don't realize it. So
That's
become
right.
aware and roll up your sleeves.
And Corinn?
I would say that if you honestly don't have time to volunteer right now, there's so many other ways that you can get involved with the American Cancer Society. It might be through your own personal donation dollars, and they can take those dollars and put them to work. It might be through corporate sponsorships. It might be through buying the bake sale items at your work's Relay for Life team. So
That's
there are
right.
so many ways that you can get involved. And if you don't have time to personally volunteer right now in your life, look for other ways through workplace giving donations that you can really support the efforts of the American Cancer Society.
I want to say thank you so much to all three of you for being here. You two are just symbols of strength and dedication and grace in terms of what you have gone through with cancer and how you continue to give back. I am just in awe of your journey and how you stand in the solution. And you, mister, those shoulders are big for a reason because you carry so much of the burden, but also the responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. And you are an example of that every single day as you work for the American Cancer Society.
Fine. Thank you so much.
So I thank you so much for being here. And I want to wish you happy holidays and especially good health and happiness.
Amen.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
When we come back after just a little bit of musical chairs, we'll have the American Red Cross here. Miss Megan will be in the house. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.